Welcome to episode number 103 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast.
Are you sure we shouldn't start over at 1 because it's like a new era?
A new era.
We've got new blood. We've got new energy.
Man, I don't know.
But we've got the same old James.
Yeah. Some things stay the same.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
So if we're doing a podcast, that means a couple things. One, it's hot.
It's hot.
And it's really hot today because
air conditioner went out.
air conditioner in the shop went out.
What? Is that why the door's open? I thought we were just getting natural.
No. I've got 2 air conditioners at the house and one out here, and we replaced one of them in the house 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's like...
And about a month ago, the capacitor went out on it, so it got fixed, and Sherry and I were laughing, well, how long is the other one going to last? We were out of town a couple of weeks ago, and Caitlin calls, are y'all conserving energy? Because it's 84 degrees in the house. So we just replaced that one. Well, I've been out here the last couple of nights getting this place cleaned up, obviously, and it was fine last night when I left, and I said, I'm going to leave it on so it's cool in the morning, and I walk in and it's 87 degrees, and I'm just like, oh. So, Coach Wig is here with us today.
Welcome, Coach Wig.
He said that
He's on the hot seat.
He brought his own fan.
That's right. Yeah.
We're trying to keep cool and get through a podcast of year 2.
Yes.
So,
A full year.
a full year.
Full year.
So we can go backwards first,
Yeah.
because you were hired, if I remember correctly, you were hired in May of last year.
Started June 6th is when I started, yep.
All right. And
No spring football.
we got you out here shortly after that.
Yeah, that's
You did a
right.
podcast, and I called you last week or whatever and said, hey, let's do year 2. And so I want to reflect for a minute.
Yeah,
In year 1,
yeah.
how are you doing?
Yeah, good. You know, it's
Year one's over.
Year 1 was a blur. You know, when you come in there and again, you know, really when I came in, you know, day 1 with the guys, you don't even know that time of year or at least me, I don't even know what to expect and what you're getting into. But then immediately the thought process of year 1 turned to the group of seniors. You know, and the group of seniors that we're going to have 3 coaches in 3 years in this football program. That doesn't happen. Right, a program of that continuity, of that tradition, you know, you don't have turnover, period. But you certainly don't have it at the head coach level, you know. And just thinking of a dad who had a son graduate 2 years before, I just really put myself in and said, what if my son's in that situation? It was just sad. Yeah. It was sad to me to think that here's a guy coming in they know nothing about. You certainly in the summertime you're not going to come in and reinvent the world, right? So it just became into season management. It became into how can I make these seniors know that I'm going to do everything in my power to make this as special as we could for them, right? To try to figure out and preserve the things that are supposed to be preserved and try to make it positive, right? And and that's really all that fall was about, and that was a blur because every day didn't know where to go, what to do. I mean, I knew nothing. Literally the entire season, it felt like knew nothing, and but kids played, you know, their hearts out as they're always going to here. You know, I love those kids to death. That the seniors and then the ones that are the underclassmen that were on the varsity team as well. It was just really fun being around them. But then you fast forward, season ends, and then you're able to essentially start a season, right? You know, we have parents this time of year. People will call and say, "Hey, my kid wants to play football," and we said, "I'm sorry, football season started January 1st. You know, now it's the end.
Yeah.
You know, it's over. You know, and that's literally that's the truth is we don't just when we're in off season we're not just lifting and running. Right? That's not what we do in ours. You know, we're doing character development, we're doing team building, we're doing all these different things of learning how we want to protect the tradition of Allen Eagle football, how we want to carry ourselves, how we want to act as a team, how we want to handle adversity, and we prepare them how to do those things. So for someone to come in, if you move in from out of town, obviously you can join us, but you can't join our program if you were here and weren't with us in the off season. You know, so we've had a season, and now we're about to get to go out there and play games at the tail end of the season. So
You survived it, is what you're
survived
saying.
it. Yeah, survived it. Yes, and excited to have survived it.
Yeah, sure.
And be here.
And it was I don't know what the word you want to use is, you know, it was you had a really tough start really tough game to start the season.
Yeah.
You know, in a game that, you know, a lot of people were like, why are we doing this? But, you know, playing Bosco, and that was, you know, that was tough. But then, you know, after that, you got into a rhythm. You know, King came to town, you beat King. You went over to Arlington and beat a good Martin team.
Yeah.
And then got into district play. And for the most part, played pretty well. You had your moments. Obviously, injuries played a part in a couple games. Ended up the season 7-3, first round playoffs against a really good Louisville team who actually went, what, 4 deep in?
They gave Martin their only other loss.
Yeah. End up the season 7-4. So, you know, which in Allen is, you know, less than I would say the expectations are. You know, there's a standard here that people try to live up to. And so, but overall, I think for the most part, everybody was okay with what's going on, given everything that had happened.
Well, the people whose opinions you care about were probably okay with it, because if you're raising, you know, good kids and teaching them the right things, the winning will take care of itself.
Yeah.
But you've got to have time to do that, right?
Sure. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and just going back to that, you mentioned those 2 games after Bosco, you know, we play in CE King, and you mentioned some injuries, and we had a kid in that CE King game that almost single-handedly took over. You know, and it had Kavion Sibley not done what he did, you know, I mean, you could look up and it's 35-14 or something the other way. I mean, this kid, I mean, he went off, and then as he did that, then you start playing both sides of the ball, start playing really, 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 really well, you know, and got some momentum. But that kid, that game was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, you know, there's some really good players, both sides of the ball that fed off that momentum, I felt like, and then really started playing well.
Well, I'll stop right there, and we don't talk about injuries much, but he did hurt himself in the Geyer game. Yeah. What's his status for this year? You know,
I don't
he's
know.
coming back?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it was a. I mean, if you saw it, it was an ugly, sad injury. But he's working hard. He's running, cutting, doing stuff. I certainly hope he's able to come back. You know, and come back soon for our sake, of course. Sure. But way more than that for him. You know, you're a kid going into a senior year has opportunities to go places, and he's able to because he's a special kid.
Well, we get into a new year, okay, and the Landry class is coming up, I guess, 3 weeks from yesterday. So it's not far away.
It's right on us, yeah.
The fall ball has started, and you having to deal with this heat and these kids. So what's your practice schedule right now?
Well, we start Monday with the older guys. So we'll go. We're in teacher in service Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we start school Thursday. So as we used to know fall camp, when school would start after Labor Day, you know, and you had 2-a-days and all that stuff. The good old day. We're essentially in school because our teachers are in school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So with our older guys, we'll go early morning, and then we'll go to in-service and bring them back and do something, you know, a little small something in the afternoon. For our we have them kind of split into a navy and a white, and then our navy is what you would perceive to be what will ultimately be your varsity, and then some of the JV players, and then the white is the rest of the JV players for balance. The Navy group will do that, schedule our practice after service. Freshmen will practice after in-service. So it's about our freshmen are out right now in this heat. You know, it's just a balance of being really, really, you know, cautious, being smart, making sure I know that we're going to have water break, but also the practice is a water break if you need it to be. Yep. You know, you feel like you need water, you feel like you need out of the heat, get out, go. You know, and they go to the tent, they go to the trainers, and the trainers are carefully and you know, for the 5 days this week with the freshmen, it's been awesome. You know, those kids have done a phenomenal job, and we've been very fortunate. But I think it's also because of the attention that have been taking place.
The details.
That's right.
Yeah, keep those guys safe. All right, you open up in the Landry.
Yep.
And Chris got you a good in-state.
That's right. Yeah.
A state champion state team coming in this. Who we're beating Allen. I don't want to put that pressure on
Yeah.
you, but it's one of the things. If you listen to the 100th podcast that Corey Kane said, that was Claude said, "You got my ring." He goes, "No, 3 of them." So, Claude's got some extra incentive, but he's got a really good team.
He does.
He's got some returning starters, and so again, right out of the box, you got a pretty big challenge in front of you.
Yeah, no, they, we played DeSoto. I was in their district, for a number of years, and when Coach Mathis was there, and they had good teams back then. They finally got over the hump, and I know they're riding a lot of momentum. They had, just 7-on-7, which we know is not real football. They've been really thriving in that, and I think they won state in 7-on-7 last summer. The summer before they won, leading into this one, which. And then they had another good season this season in that, but they we know they're going to be very talented. They do a great job over there, and of course riding the momentum of a state championship. The thing that we know is that and we hope is that every team we play is that caliber. That's what we want. We don't. There's no part of our program from today or ever that you'll see us scheduling a game feeling like we need time to get our feet wet. Right? I mean. We want to schedule the absolute best whenever we have a chance to schedule. District, you're going to play who you play, which our district is plenty good as well. But we want to schedule the best to see where we are, what we need to work on for when it does matter, and which is district play. And then hopefully you're peaking at the end of that. But we're really excited about DeSoto just because you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a one of the best, if not the best team in the state as of coming in the start of the season. So it's going to be good.
I saw on Twitter, I think, that they have a tackler.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
He's like 6'8", 350.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Maybe a little bigger than that, but yeah, he's a big old man. He is. Yeah.
We need to find a wrestler like Ollie Pierce that can go between his legs.
I saw that and I'm like,
wow.
They don't make them like they used to.
It should be limited to 10 players on the field instead of.
That's right. Yeah.
He is too.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And they always got great skill players.
They do.
They do. A lot of speed.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. I know one of the players I know really well. I coached him where I was before I came up here, and he ended up moving over there this spring for his senior season, and so it'll be neat to coach against him. He's a great kid. Yeah.
Well, now but that district has an open district policy, right? Open attendance.
Well, I don't know that answer. But if you do, he wouldn't have. You can't do that. Okay. So he would have had to move because even if you're open enrollment, a school district, which we're not, right?
Right.
But even if you are, you would have to be enrolled in the school for a calendar year to be eligible. So no, they moved over there. But he's a phenomenal kid. It'll be fun to get to coach against him, but really just get to see him. TJ Pride, remember the name. He'll be a receiver for him. Antonio Pride, it might be listed, but it's TJ Pride.
TJ Pride.
Keep it on the list.
Yep.
All right, so after that, you see King's coming back up.
Yeah.
Martin's coming here this year. New coach.
Yeah.
Wager's no longer there.
Yeah.
Bob's
No
longer
somewhere
other
else
places too.
Bob's had a rough week.
Yeah.
But
2 weeks.
Yeah.
But so that'll be a different look.
Yeah.
I don't know who do they hire.
Well, they hire. It's the same. It's them.
It's
so it'll and it'll change. Because they can't stay Bob without Bob.
Yep.
But they've all been together so long, and it's their same guys, all of them.
Yep.
So they'll still be him this season. I think probably mid-season they probably start getting their own personality. But this is certainly going to be a Bob Wager team when we play them.
Yeah.
The CE King, that's one that I know y'all know this, but they got beat by Katy in the 4th round.
Yep.
And I, not that I don't think they came up. I really, and I don't want to undersell our victory against them last year at all, but they had just seen us get handled by Bosco.
Yep.
They traveled, I don't know, 5 hours to get here.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't have been, that can't be easy, and come up here and they obviously knew we were Allen, but they also are looking and saying this is a different Allen, and I think that game really opened their eyes, and I know that we will see a different version of them because they certainly when you looked on the field they didn't have weaknesses.
They did
but that'll be a really really good game. I'm really excited about that because, again, I think those first 3 games give you a different look. DeSoto is physical, and they're going to play physical both sides of the ball. But the way they play is different than C.E. King, and then you go Martin, which is totally different than that. So I really like those 3 games and what they do for you preparation-wise, and just again, it allows us to see where are we, what do we have to fix, or our move, or personnel change, or whatever it is. So it's going to be different people running the Martin program, but it's going to be Martin, the same offense coach, same defense coach. It's going to be the same. But great non-district schedule.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's nice having 3 home games to start the season.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
No kidding.
it is.
And now, and you back that up, you have North Crowley in 2 weeks from yesterday.
Okay. That's
And
over there.
we're over there this year, and they went 12-1.
Yeah.
And lost one game in the playoff game. They have a really, really good team, and he's real high on them. Thinks he has a lot of the key ingredients coming back. So that'll be, scrimmages are at least for us very vanilla, and them too. But still, I mean, you're getting some really good competition right out the gate there.
Yeah. Which is good.
It is good.
All right. Speaking of personnel,
Yep.
a whole new year,
Yep.
graduating class,
Yep.
move-ins, move-outs.
Yep.
How do you look at your team this year?
Yeah,
Let's just start with quarterback. I know
yeah.
you've got a quarterback competition.
Yep.
Hawkins is left.
Yep.
That's behind us, and it's
Yep.
well documented. We'll just let that go. And so now I'm assuming you've got 2 quarterbacks fighting for the starting job,
Yeah.
or is it 3?
I would say there's 3 coming into
Okay.
Monday morning. We have a senior, Dylan Chapman.
Right.
So he was a JV quarterback his sophomore year. He was on varsity last year as the backup.
Right.
Y'all saw, didn't get many reps. Certainly didn't get many meaningful reps, you would say. Right. You have a incoming junior, Brady Bricker, who as a freshman was here, and I think him and another quarterback that moved out after that season went to Euless Trinity. But Brady went to a school his fall of his sophomore year, a private school, so they never moved and then came back home.
Right.
Okay. And then you have a freshman, a sophomore who was a freshman for us. His name is Brett Holloway. He did not play middle school football. His brother was a linebacker for the Ravens, played with Ray Lewis. Unbelievable. The brother is an unbelievable guy. And Brett, being new to football, he started out as a B team quarterback and then ultimately became the A team quarterback his freshman year. So he's one that he's going to be showing a lot of improvement fast because the game is so new to him. The quarterback position is so new to him, but the game is so new to him. And so as we come in and we don't, we finish spring ball and we would say if we played a game that night, we could tell you our 11 starters on offense. We would obviously be able to do that. But we are far from a point of saying these are our starters and this is our district, because we believe this summer has value. We believe that going up there and working in the summer is not just to stay in shape. We believe there's a tremendous value to improvement, to skill development improvement, but also physical development improvement. So, so the starters that we would have named after our spring game, we hope that there's a lot of changes to, right? And the quarterback position is certainly one of those. From I'm not saying we hope there's changes to that. I'm just saying we hope there's improvement in all, with all 3 guys, and at what rate the different ones improve. So those would be the 3 that the day one, we'll have one of them probably start with huddle 1, one start with huddle 2, one start with huddle 3, but all 3 of those will spend over the first week and a half significant time in all 3 huddles to see how they're performing, how they're leading a team, how they're leading huddles. But that will also be said for every position on the field. There'll be a lot of that jockeying around to see has there been change to where, what we don't want to get in the habit of is if we felt they were here, so they're here, and then we never gave a chance to see does someone else pass them up, because I think that's so much of the game of football is finding the ingredient to having your top 11 on the field. But so short answer of that would be there are 3.
Okay. Well, that helps.
Yep.
Gives everybody an idea who they are, too.
Yeah.
Because, again,
Yeah.
it'll be a new quarterback.
Yeah.
That's right.
Leading the team this year.
That's right.
So when you look at your team, I've left my book in the house.
Yeah.
I don't know, how many returning starters do you have on each side of the ball?
Yeah, that varies, again, especially when you're talking about like an injury.
Yep.
a Sibley. But offensively, again, it's just that's a weird question because is Quentin Hammond's a starter?
He was, and he got hurt. Yeah.
I mean, he missed the whole season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, second series of C.E. King done for the year.
Right.
So is he a returning starter? I mean, I would say no. He actually was out all off season with an injury, but
right.
I anticipate that he'll start. But
right.
but after that, you say Messiah Washington started for receiver.
Right.
He's working defense now.
Right.
So is he a return? Is that considered a return starter? But if outside of that,
I thought it was an easy question.
Yeah, it's really outside of that, again, I don't even know that when you look at the offense of who started and ended. Yeah. Was the last game started on offense, and if we were starting tonight, who would start? I guess there's two names on offense.
Yeah.
Defensively,
a few more.
Yeah.
Few more. Of course, you have Zena, Drew King, Mitchell New.
That actually started. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking Tank, but he wasn't a starter.
No, I mean, phenomenal player. I mean, let's go ahead and get on the record.
I'm excited about him.
Phenomenal player. But if you're going to say starters, you're probably three over there, But again, when you're a deep program like you are, I mean, I think there's obviously a lot that can be said of experience, but what you hope is that you're creating that experience daily in practice, and then and we want our JV kids playing games that they believe and we believe are preparing them to start the following year on varsity. Yeah. Freshmen, we believe, are playing games knowing that some of those are going to start as sophomores on varsity. So I think there's merit to it. You can say, oh, no, we only have this return starters, or, oh, gosh, we have this many. But just like I said, I don't care if they were starting in spring ball. I hope change occurs over the summer anyway. I hope improvement and competition maintains. So probably not a lot of numbers that are, but that doesn't take away from what's going to be on the field.
Sure.
Can we visit that? Because you had talked about the season in a little bit different way.
Yeah.
Where, season starts January 1st.
That's right.
And you work through your spring ball, and then you work through your summer program, and you're working on all sorts of stuff other than performance too.
That's right. Yeah.
And then they get to play at the end of the season.
That's right. Yeah, we believe that it's like a football game for us, and we believe there's 4 quarters. Okay, our first is what we refer to as boot camp. Okay, right. So we're going to spend a classroom phase where we're just addressing that. What are we about? What are we about as men? What are we about as students? What are we about as Allen Eagle football players? Mm-hmm. What are our expectations that we're going to live by? So we spend 4 days in a classroom setting. Mm-hmm. Okay. From there, we go to the physical aspect of our boot camp, which is just going to be drills that are attention to detail, just learning to do things perfect all the time, right? It's just that over and over and over. We conclude boot camp, and that was phase 1 for us, and we're going to name our first captain of the year. Mm-hmm. We name a boot camp captain. The kids vote. We don't do captain say, hey, who do you think the captain should be? What we do is we have a list of characteristics and qualities that we say are what a captain should be. Mm-hmm. So they fill that out, and then I tally all those up, and then that becomes the ballot, and then we send that out, and then they vote, right? So we named our first captain of the year, the kids named, which was our defensive end, Zena. Okay. Then we go into what we would refer to as our track phase. Okay. The reason it's track phase is because we'll now start to go out and do a lot of running. Coach Cockcroft, who y'all all know, who's one of the favorite people I've met, my favorite people I've met in this town, he came out and was involved with us in off season even. He'd run our kids in portions of that off season, and which was great to help our kids get into track. But we go through the track phase, which leads you up till spring, really district track meet. Sure. It always has been for us. But we go through that, and then from track phase, we move into spring ball. Yeah. So we go track phase, spring ball. When we finish spring ball, we name our second captain of the year. Okay. After spring ball, we go into summer. We go through our summer workout, and we name a summer captain of the year. And then we start fall camp Monday, and we'll name our fall camp captain of the year following our North Crowley scrimmage. So for us, it goes leading up to what we say now we get to just go play games. We have boot camp, we have track phase, we have spring ball, we have summer. Right. That's when our team is formed. That's why last year for us, it was when we came in June, on June 6th, we weren't going to fit all that in there. We weren't going to try. It would be unrealistic, and it would have done nothing but confuse our kids.
Right.
So it was, let's get into the fourth quarter, which we're in, and let's see how we can get this team to that finish line in a successful way. But in terms of our off-season preparation, we're in a much different place right now, just because of being with them, right? As anyone is when you're you know more about your wife when you're around her year 2 than you did year 1. I mean, you just you better.
Yeah, you better.
But yeah, so that's our program. We put a lot of stock into those, and if you told me, it's like I tell kids all the time. When I was in high school, I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball, and I've told them for years, a lot of years now, but I would go back to high school today. I loved everything about it, but if you said you can only play 2 of those, I'm out. I'm not going. If you told me you're going to coach forever, but you've got to drop one of those phases, I'm out. Because each of those are a huge part of our football program, right? Like the product that you see on the field, what I believe, and our football program is formed in those 4 phases. And the product you see on the field, if you don't have those 4 phases, it's just teams running plays, right? And not that we're going to run everyone runs the same plays, everyone, right? They run them with different players, and they might dress them up differently, but it's all the same. It's what product is running them, and that to me is what the football program is leading up to the games. But that's the exciting part of having a program, and I love off season every bit as much as I do any Friday night experience.
So speaking of off season, and this is, I know we don't have a list or anything yet, but you've had a lot of coaching changes too.
Yeah.
And so, do you mind going through your varsity coaches at least?
Yeah.
To tell, because I know it changed a lot from last year.
Yeah. So we'll.
You're still head coach.
I'm still head coach. We have an offensive coordinator. I will call the offense, which.
Everybody heard that.
That's right. So that's right. You know who the dog cuss daily, which is good. I've done it for 30 years. The only reason I didn't, just so you know, this year is because of when I came in. It was a decision of I've got to just invest in the community. I've got to invest in meeting people. I've got to invest in the kids. I don't have time to invest in installing this. And it was, and when we hired David Collins, who I love, and did a phenomenal job. He's a brilliant coach. Did a brilliant job all year. It was nothing. The change had nothing to do with that. It was solely that that I don't know how to do this if I'm not doing that.
Right.
That's just the bottom line, And so made that change. Then brought in an offense coordinator who I worked with before. He'd been the head coach down at Clear Lake the last 7 years. One of my best friends in life. Just an unbelievable man. His name's Larry McRae. Tried to get him to come up here with me. We've been trying. We're coached together. He actually went to DeSoto from where we were at one point, and then he was a parade All-American down in Angleton in high school, and went on to Baylor, and just a good guy. But when we hooked up, he went back down to that Houston area, and finally got him back up here. John Broom, who was with us. Craig Carpenter was our assistant head coach. His son, who played for us last year, is at Tulsa. He has a daughter that had been at UTSA playing volleyball. She just went up to West Texas A&M. He got out. He's able to go his hometown, Teague. He's going there as an administrative position, which allows him freedom to be gone Thursdays to go watch his son at Tulsa, Tuesday, Friday, Saturdays to go watch her. So losing him is losing a part of my life. But you replace him with a kid that he's 50. But John Broom was, when I was in high school, we went to high school together, and back when I was in school, a senior, you had a freshman that, back then it was you initiated. Right? Yeah. He was my freshman that I took care of, that I made sure nothing, we've basically been family for 40 years now. Right? Forever. Yeah. Literally, there's not a better human being. You could ask anyone that's met him. There's not a better human being on the planet than this guy. So he's our assistant head coach. So he's an offensive coach. He was last year and is again. I work with quarterbacks. We hired a guy who, John Kitna is a friend of mine. He had a guy that he had coached with. He recommended him to me. Kevin Yost, he's come up. He's going to be the quarterback coach. Yep. I will spend a lot of time with quarterbacks, but he serves as our quarterback coach. Receiver coach Houston Patterson has been here. Unbelievable young coach.
By the way, he told us he's going to get a play in the playbook named after us.
Love it. I'm gonna remind him when I get back. Which I'm gonna have to. We're in pictures right now and then doing a thing. But yeah, I'm gonna remind him literally when I get back over there.
Yeah.
And but he's great. He's really really good. Herschel Sims, y'all probably know that name.
Yep.
Yep. You remember the name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know y'all do.
Abilene,
There's not bigger
Abilene.
fans than y'all in the game.
We were over at
yeah.
UTSA in the freezing cold watching him play.
Yeah.
In a playoff game.
Neat. So we almost hired him last year,
Yeah.
and he ended up going to he was at SMU and stayed in college one more year.
Yeah.
I got him. So the guys that I had ties with,
He's doing running backs?
he's doing running backs.
Okay.
He is.
That's good.
Colin Buckley was with us last year. He's gonna he's with JV. He came over through a connection with David Collins. He is going to help Larry McRae with our offensive line. Defensively, hired a guy named Chase Hargis, and you know the bad word on him is Southlake. That's his ties, right? And I didn't even realize when I hired that, but we do. Just as we do with our players, we do a lot of team building with our staff, you know, and we're doing, when we start up our meeting, we're doing some team building, and we really are conscious of, I'm really wanting to get Allen Eagles on our staff, right? And I think we have 6 football players at our high school staff, 6 Allen graduates on our high school staff right now, which we're really excited about. Well, anyway, we're going around and we're doing some different team building stuff, and when he mentioned Southlake, you know, everyone's like, you know, and then we get to it, and the first coach says, you know, whatever, and I lost to Southlake. Well, then when we get to the next one, I say, before you talk, you better tell me you beat Southlake. We go all the way around the room, not one of them has beaten Southlake. I said, this is horrible, horrible. I know we have, but none of those had. So anyway, but he's a great guy. What happened? So how that happened is we're hiring, we're hiring a defense coordinator, okay, and making calls and explaining exactly what I'm looking for, and I get a call from a guy that's a really good friend, and he said, hey, I got a recommendation of a guy that's wanting to interview for your DC job. And I said, okay, he's good. He said, oh yeah, he's really good. I said, he's really good. He goes, he's really good. And I said, I have no desire to talk to him then. He goes, what? And I said, I want the best that there is. And he goes, oh, well, if you want the best that there is, there's a guy named Chase Hargis, but he's not going to leave where he is. And I said, what'd you say his name was? And he told me, well, literally the night before I get a resume. And I said, I'm going to have to get on my computer because I think that I got a resume. He goes, from Chase Hargis? I said, I think so. And anyway, so, and I had about 6 or 7 that I'm digging into at this time. Well, just not that to bore you to death, but so when we interview, especially a position like that, like in my world, how prior to last year when I'm calling the offense, like every coach is important, right? Yeah. But if I'm calling the offense, I've got to have an offensive line coach and a defense coordinator. That's what's got to happen. Yeah. That they're going to lead the rest of the stuff, right? Well, so in that role, I'm not just going to go hire a defense coordinator. So on these guys that I'm digging into, I'm like, I'm not calling references. You know, I'm finding out where did they work, and I'm going to try to track down through social media or something a coach that has been on that staff or used to be on that staff, and I'm going to start asking under the table questions about them, find out really what they're about, you know, and I'm going to call offensive coaches that worked with them, offensive coaches that coached against them and worked with them. And anyway,
kind of like what we did with you.
That's right. Yeah. I hope so. And I told them that, and I tell people that when they called me about this job, and I came and met with them, I said, I hope that you have called everyone that I've coached, everyone that I've coached against, everyone that I've worked for, because if not, you're not doing your due diligence, you know. But he, I mean, checked every box. He's just really, really, really good at what he does. Anyway, so he coaches safeties, defensive line. Kendall Hill had done defensive tackles. He's moving to defensive ends. We hired a guy that I played high school football against, Sean Alberdine. He has been coaching with Larry McRae, who my buddy that was the head, he was his head coach. Mm-hmm. We got him to come down with us as a defensive tackles coach. Linebackers, we hired a guy out of Odessa Permian, Brian Ingram, and then corners is Effie Osawon Wednesday still. Mm-hmm. So that's the varsity staff.
Got it. Sounds like you got a really good group of people.
They're an unbelievable group. I mean, y'all been around them some. Yep. They're just good guys, and that was real important for multiple reasons as well. Yeah.
So he was the guy, Hargis?
He's the guy. He is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good. Yeah. And we went against him. We went against him in the spring, and it's good stuff.
Got to initiate the South Lake out of it.
You need to. Yeah. So he, as most, as you have stuff up around Memento, he has a South Lake helmet up.
Yeah.
it's been tampered with.
Tampered with.
A number of you can imagine Coach Chaney. But
I'll give you a balding eagle sticker to stick.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. I'll talk to you afterwards. I've got something that you can do to mess with him. So,
Yeah.
Well, and it's
or
not
you can
it's not
do it
harmful.
too. Yeah.
Well, it's not harmful. We
Yeah.
have acquired some South Lake friends, and we've got some memorabilia that we've acquired from them. So yeah.
We mess with South Lake every chance we get. I was in the bowels of AT&T Stadium with the band one year when we were playing an NFL game, and there was a picture when South Lake won state championship there.
Up in the locker rooms,
And I
right?
just pulled out stuck it right on there, It's dark, an awful wet,
Yeah.
So any chance, there's a lot of stadiums in the Metroplex that have balding eagle stuff all over.
Yeah,
So,
love it.
Yeah.
And they were
May or may
places.
not know it's still there.
and they were actually state championships at like DeSoto coming in, and we
That's
played
right.
them and
That's
beat
right.
them.
That's right.
Shut them out.
The year the stadium was open.
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah.
that was fun. Okay, let's talk about district for just a bit. One of the things I noted, and we talked about before we started, and again, I told you I do a little bit of work trying to get prepped for these things, was there's been a lot of change at the quarterback position. When you look at what I call the top tier teams,
Sure.
especially but all of them, Jackson Arnold graduated, Kedrick Luster graduated from McKinney, the kid at Prosper graduated finally. Like he'd been there forever. Rock Hill,
You went to Oklahoma,
He moved. Yeah, he did.
Kevin Sperry moved to Oklahoma.
Which was a huge move out.
and
Unbelievable
so
player.
and Hawkins has
Yeah.
left Allen,
Yeah.
and so you look there, your top 4 teams from last year, all your playoff teams,
A lot
all have
unknown.
quarterbacks.
That's right.
And so when you look at district top to bottom, how do you see it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, you just talked about like Mike for us last year. You think about our games last year and think about the plays that he made, and so many of them, you'd call unconventional, right? Plays with his legs that were broken down that he, it's about to be disastrous, and then he turns it into a huge play that was the momentum that flipped the game, or he scramble drill, find somebody and make a phenomenal throw on the run. Just plays that that you just don't see people make, right? So you take that and you're trying to replace him, and that's difficult because there's very few Mike Hawkins on the planet. Well, that can be said about some of those others that you mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. Jackson Arnold, there's just not, they can get who they want.
Yeah.
And they could name him Jackson Arnold, and he's not going to be that Jackson Arnold.
Right.
He's just not. So they're going to be different, and McKinney had another move in, a couple of weeks ago. He was their district MVP where he came from. I don't know a lot about him, how they're going to be, but or how he's going to be. But you ask me how it's going to stack up, and I am probably outside of the norm here. I think McKinney is the top team in the district. I think that again, they've had a lot of change in personnel on that team. And the change that they have is really, 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 really impressive. They're talent-wise going to be the most talented, not close in my opinion, not close. Do they come together and play? Marcus does a great job of coaching, a great job, the team building, all those activities. And if he can get the pieces to all come together, they're going to be a special football team.
And they start off with Longview, which will be a good
It will
test.
be.
And again, it's
That's
non-district.
right. It's still be a good
but
test.
it's a good test.
Yeah. To me, they're a lot like Louisville was last year. And I think they were a lot like Louisville last year. Period. They have all these pieces that are coming together, and it's if they are able to make them all mold. TCU. I mean, there's a lot of examples. TCU went to the portal, brought a lot in. They did fit, and they go play for it. There's a lot of others that have a lot of pieces that come in that you look at. Oh my gosh, they should, and it just doesn't ever really click. Right. If it does at McKinney, it could be really, really special for them. So I would say they're at the top of the food chain right now. And then you've got to, in my opinion, Geyer, because of what they've been the last few years. I think they lose Jackson, but they still have a lot of pieces that are top end. I'm basing that off really the Prosper opening a new school, having a coaching change. I've got to think there's some degree of drop off. I think just from talking to coaches there, I think they feel like there's not much this year, if any. They would probably tell you that they're going to be the same team they were last year. I think they feel like after this year, there's a little drop coming. So I think that, not putting us where we're going to fit, but those top three who were the other top three besides us last year, I just switched the order of those, and I would go McKinney, Guy, or Prosper of those three. Yeah. And then after that, I would have said Rock Hill is going solely because the quarterback. Not so. That's not fair to say because of the program they run and the kids, but he was special. Special, and I think he could carry a team as far as he wants to carry them.
He might have been the one that went to Moore.
He did
Moore, Oklahoma.
He's the one that committed to OU, went to a camp there, and they're about to leave camp, and he told Dad, I don't really want to leave Oklahoma. I want to stay right here. So Dad said, I have the means. Why don't I?
Okay.
Let's just move here.
Interesting.
But anyway, and then those others, like all of us, they've been working since day one to do things. But I think it's gonna be tough to crack that. For those others outside of us to crack those top three probably because of the talent differential. Yeah.
So there's a lot more parity, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more unknown.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of the unknown, I think you can say parity. But then again, what do the different pieces do? That there might be less. Yeah. When it gets to that point.
If they don't gel.
If they don't gel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it can be one person that keeps a team from gelling, or it can be multiples.
That's right. No question. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think the off-season character, not the off-season, but the early season character building is.
That's why we believe it has to, because that's the part that, and again, just coming into a season where you didn't have that, and again, all I'm trying to do is get them to the finish line in a productive manner, but it was a lot of pulling hair out for me, just because there's a lot of things that they.
Careful with your words. You got an awful lot of hair out there, my friend.
But there was just a lot of things that we dealt with poorly, that I just didn't have them prepared to deal with. And not to make an excuse that typically they're dealt with throughout the off season.
Right.
I didn't find a way to get them dealt with in the time that I was here, so it was just very frustrating to me, and some things of the way we handled ourselves and did things throughout the year. The X's and O's on the field, we did great. Yeah, we did great, and the kids played at a high level. But outside the X's and O's, there were just some things that were just disappointing to me as the program that I was leading, which means disappointing on how I did things. Much different when we're now. I mean, we're a much different team right now.
We've been moving towards parity for several years right now. That goes by. Few of the teams that we've lost to, it's been their Super Bowl.
That's right.
I mean, they just no question going crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of nice. Maybe we're in a little bit more of an underdog position, and people get bored. Beating Allen's not that big a deal anymore.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
That's right. No, I mean,
look past this.
That's right.
Past this.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Like I say, 3 weeks away. It's 25th.
25th.
Wow.
Tom Landry Classic. Get your tickets. It'll be a great game. I'll go ahead and plug ahead of Chris next week. The game on Saturday night for the Landry is
going to be a fantastic game.
College Station, which is going to be another really good game. He's got 4 good ones.
No doubt.
Coming in there this year, so that'll be fun. So we appreciate your time. We know you're a busy man, and we appreciate you. Again, we'll say it again, and we're going to do it. We've already talked about it. You hop on our podcast every week. We appreciate that. You're going to do it again just to talk about the game the night before. And we appreciate you taking that 15 minutes. And, even though we kind of drilled you with, you didn't do so well on your pick 'em last year. You need to work on that. And you got to remember, week 2 is Texas, Alabama. So we're going to put you on the spot real quick.
I'll be ready.
That's a no-brainer pick right there.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Just for the record, I may be sounding like I'm ready to get off a little quicker this year, just because I'll have more involvement on the offense. But no, I just respect you guys for what this game means to y'all, but what Allen Eagle football means to you, and it's just exciting to know that there's you out there that it means so much to, and you have followers that love you for that reason.
We'll be there at 7
3 or
o'clock,
4,
8
I
o'clock
guess.
on the 25th.
Yep.
Come by, get some
ready for breakfast.
It's my birthday that day, so I'll come get a birthday snack to eat.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll give him a little hat to wear.
Coach, we appreciate it.
Thank y'all really.
Next week, Chris Cumnock from the Landry will be here with us, and we'll talk to him. Chris is always a great interview.
Yeah.
He's so knowledgeable about everything going on in the state with football and college.
Maybe we'll
football.
get another hot sports opinion
We
from
might,
him.
you know, we might. He might have a lot to say, but until then, it's over, and we are out.